Kirandeep Kaur arrived in Montreal in 2019, just a couple of years ago, with her husband. She wanted to study to become a financial analyst. They'd left their family behind in India to come to Canada, and they were moving on from her battle with ovarian cancer. But last December, she found out that the disease had come back. She was getting treatment at the MUHC. She's only 25, and she's dying. That's where my next guest comes in, Mark Smith. He and two other generous donors in Montreal have stepped up through the MUHC Foundation to help her. And Mark's on the line. Good morning, Mark.
Morning, Andrew. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So tell me about getting the call from Julie Kenville at the foundation. And when was this? What did she explain?
Yeah, she called me late on a Friday afternoon and told me the story of Kirandeep and her plight, and how she was certainly palliative and not in very poor shape, and desperately wanted to go home back to her country, to India, to Delhi, to be with her family in her last days.
So what is it? I mean, it's obviously a very moving story, but she's a stranger. So why help a stranger like this?
Well, I guess if I look at it, I actually recently lost my 91-year-old mother, but she had an amazing quote which she lived by, which is, "We all can't be clever, but we all can be kind." And fortunate enough in life to have the means, and to hear such a story, such a heart-moving story, just couldn't say no. Had to help, and then called Andre and France Desmarais, who are close friends, and told them the story. They said, "We're all in," and we agreed to split it. And they had been to India many times with Ramesh and Sudarshan Khosla, along with their son Deep, and had fallen in love with the country and the people, the culture, the history, and so coupled with their generous and their love for the Indian community and understanding how important it would be for her, they were all in also.
So they're there now, or how is she doing?
She's in palliative care in Delhi in a hospital. She has I think the doctor would say survived far longer than we thought. We were worried at the time, and the doctors were worried even if she'd be able to make the flight, which she did. But she's not in great shape.
And it's a pretty complicated thing logistically. Like you had, with the ambulances and there was a private jet involved and a private nurse on the flight as well.
Correct. The logistics were the big task, and over the weekend, by the way, because we were talking days. So there were the visas. By complete coincidence, my daughter rents a home from the Canadian High Commissioner to India. My daughter lives in Ottawa, and she rents his home to live in. So I had dealings with him just on renting his home. Nadir Patel was absolutely fantastic. We needed a special nurse to fly with Kirandeep, and the nurse who was most experienced and took a whole set of skills. Annette Birnbaum we flew her to Montreal from Vancouver. We had to get her here. The visas, as I said, were critical. We had to get her to Toronto because the burden of the flight to Toronto on its own, the going and toing and getting off the plane, etc. I mean, she was in a wheelchair. She was on a drip. There was a great challenge. The drugs, the approvals from Air Canada. Air Canada was great, but was fantastic. The governments and the transport in India, which the ambassador and the people at the other end did a great job. So you put all that together, and having to get that done over a weekend, was certainly challenging.
Yeah, well, you did a nice thing, Mark.